ようこそどうぞはじめまして
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GLORIO Chat, the oldest anime podcast on the internet.
Yep, we're the first one. None have come before us.
You joke, but in a ways, we are. If we were talking about our specific sphere of low to mid tier anime, WordPress anime bloggers, we've been doing this for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the podcast obviously has not been in existence in its present form for very long, but the site itself, we've been around for a bit. As I have mentioned in many of the previous episodes, July is our 6th anniversary, and 6 years is not the sexiest of anniversaries, but it's a long time for an anime blog.
I don't know what happens when you turn that 6 upside down.
Huh? I don't get it, Iro. What are you talking about?
No, never mind. It's fine.
Yeah, and we had our big 5-year last year, and we did a bunch of retrospective stuff and whatnot. But we didn't have a podcast last year, so now we do. And I thought it might be fun to do a little bit of a look back on air. I also know a lot of our regular readers and commenters also have anime blogs, and they might be interested in the topic.
Yeah, wait, hang on. We have regular readers and commenters?
Yeah.
We have a community?
You guys should read the comments. Read the comments sometimes. Yeah, so...
But I've been told never to read the comments.
That's usually good advice, but most of the people on our site are cool. So anyway, we're going to take a little bit of a walk down memory lane, talk about how we got started, some of our highs and low points over the last 6 years, and kind of our philosophy on how we do things and why we're still around. So
because we definitely put that much thought into that and didn't start this literally on a whim.
Shh. Well, we'll get to that.
You know what they say about the definition of insanity.
Yes. Let's get all the jokes off, but that is actually pretty correct. Anyway,
I mean, basically, what this podcast is going to be, an hour to 90 minutes of us patting ourselves on the back. So
yep, the pat ourselves on the back cast.
Yes.
The most self-congratulatory anime podcast on the internet.
Yes. So, with us today, I'm Gel. We have Iro.
Hi.
We have G.
Yo.
And we have Aqua.
The ultimate proof that this podcast has no standards.
I mean...
well, Aqua, isn't this whole GLORIO thing is your fault, right? I mean, we'll get into the details in a minute here, but... let's start kind of in that direction there. Let's take everybody back to a magical time. Probably somewhere around 2009. Does that sound about right?
Boy, was it that? Sure.
I'm remembering. I was trying to remember what were the hot anime topics of the day. So you had
about when we were on Japan tour, right?
Right.
I don't actually remember the specifics, but
when did season 2 of Yumeiro Patiserie air? I mean, that's what we did our first collaborative post thingy on.
Yeah, that was what Star Driver was also airing.
Yeah.
Emo.
Yeah.
I was thinking of when I first, before we started teaming up, I guess, but when I first stumbled into, let's start from there. We all met at a website called Japanator. Rest in peace.
Yep.
Now, I think, now the Twitter account, which I still follow, does update,
yes,
from time to time. So somebody is...
for legal purposes, they do exist still.
Somebody is wearing its corpse and parading it around. So
yeah, but it's not obviously the same as it was many years ago. Back then,
community's gone.
Yeah, we all, I know from my perspective, around that 2009 era, I was just getting back into anime, looking for some website to, the whole concept of like watching anime as it airs was new to me at that point, and I was looking for some website with the latest information, and that was actually a pretty good one. That was had a pretty cool community like you guys there, and yeah, that's kind of how we all met up. And yeah, just going back to, I was trying to remember some of the other hot topics were like, I think it was coming right after like Haruhi season 2, so like the Endless 8 thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Endless 8 shit. Yeah.
And then K-On! Happened shortly after that, so that was like peak.
Right.
No, K-On! Was before Haruhi season 2.
They were like back to back though, right? They were like kind of right in the same.
Something like
that. It was
that.
around the same time, yeah.
So I think that's about when I was
the rise of K-On! Was happening around that time.
It probably says something about my own personal relationship with anime and kind of the very antagonistic relationship I had with anime between 2008 to like 2011. That the only memory I have from the Japanator days is me and Japanator's was it the editor-in-chief, Brad
Rice?
Yeah, it was me and Brad Rice. Right, it was me and Brad Rice being the only American fans of the baseball sports anime on the entire planet, and us kind of commiserating the fact that we were basically its only fans. But
yeah.
So that is my primary Japanator era memory before meeting the rest of you guys.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool site, and go ahead, Aqua.
K-On! Was like the first anime I watched as it was airing. Like I was just looking at, hey, what's new in anime? Like what's the hot thing? And it was K-On! Everyone was talking about K-On! So I think it was also like through Japanator and its resident K-On! Fan and former star of Disney and Disney XD show, Lizzie McGuire, Jake Thomas, who's like super into K-On! So I checked that out. I think Railgun was airing in the same season.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Season of Railgun. So those were like the two big shows everyone was talking about.
That was also
so those were like the first.
That was also around like the Bakemonogatari time too.
Yes, I think it was the same. Yeah, it was the same season as Bakemonogatari, I think.
Man, fucking anime sucked back then. Jesus.
You saying it still
Holy
doesn't?
Shit.
Like...
I mean, yeah, but at least now we have some good shit. I feel like all I remember, now it's coming back to me now. Like the Japanator days were just a lot of me just fucking complaining that shows weren't Gurren Lagann. I think that was basically just like the primary thrust of my criticisms of anime at the time.
I mean, the Japanator days were definitely those days where you had like only two kinds of anime, like moe 4-koma things and like bad mid-tier light novel adaptations by JC staff. I'm thinking like stuff like Dream Eater Mary and...
Hey, now Dream Eater Mary, hey, alright, you know what? Fuck you. First of all, Dream Eater Mary was a manga, not a light novel. Second, fuck JC Staff for butchering that manga. That manga was a perfectly fine 7 out of 10 mid-tier bland shonen manga, action manga.
Oh man.
It's kind of like weird Tim Burton / Soul Eater-esque aesthetic. And
sure.
You're saying it was like Tim Burton meets Tim Burton.
You know what I mean. I'm not saying it was great. I might not even say it was good, but JC Staff's adaptation still fucked it up. So, thank you for helping me remember that grudge.
My apologies.
That I had long forgotten. I had even forgotten that was the reason why I disliked JC Staff all these years, but you helped me remember where that came from. So.
Was 2009 also Durarara?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Because I feel like that was maybe like I think might have been like the first like kind of bonding moment for a lot of people on that site, where everybody was like on board with, hey, this show is really cool.
Right, it kind of had that widespread appeal.
Yeah. So anyway, those were good times, and as we kind of were hanging out there,
friends in the comment sections.
Yep. And on top of the comment section, they had kind of the cool thing with Japanator is they had a like community blog thing where anybody could pretty much write anything on their awful blog editor software thing.
Garbage editing. We became better using that than the actual like staff of that website.
Oh, totally. I mean, because I was so into posting images in my cblogs, I had to learn how to fucking make them not look like complete trash in that editor.
Well, that was the thing. You couldn't even host images. You had to host them somewhere else and then link. I remember I hooked up a Imager or Photo Bucket or something like that page just for my.
I think it was Photo Bucket back then.
Yeah.
Remember that dark era of the internet where you had to use external photo hosting websites?
Man,
we're old.
Oh man.
Yeah, so those were good times. So yeah, they had this community blog feature, and we all kind of started trying our hands at writing about different topics. And
all wrote about Gurren Lagann on the same day.
It turned out we were actually pretty good at it, and that kind of took off.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we were pretty poor at it, but
we weren't good at it. We weren't necessarily good at it when we started, but I think we got pretty decent at it quickly. But the staff would promote different blogs and stuff. Depending on they'd have events or whatever sometimes or other stuff going on, and they would promote
win these review copies of Ichiko and Hachin that are still on my shelf somewhere.
And
it's a legitimately good show. God,
I know. I'll watch it one day.
Yep, and
I'm pretty sure I'm the only one here whose blogs never got promoted to Japan, which is probably saying a lot.
I remember Aqua. You had didn't you have that Anime Moms one that got promoted?
Hell yeah. Anime Moms.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, let's check the tape. I know it was 10 years ago at this point, but
what I'm saying is I put way too much effort into my K-On! Puppet show, and I'm still very, very angry that no one cared.
I forgot about that. Please tell me you still have the video of that somewhere. I have to link that in the show notes if it still exists. So we kind of ended up taking on a pretty big role in that site, if we're being honest, as far as driving the community and whatever. And I know I got my first kind of taste for blood for having people actually read things you write through there.
You ran the Saimoe contest or something, right?
Yes, there was that.
Yes, that was Joe.
I did an entire 2 years in a row.
Right. Man, I remember always looking at. Man, I didn't know that was you. I just always remember looking at that thing being like, man.
No, that was
a god awful bracket.
Well, I didn't do the voting. I just
right. Well, I mean, right. It's not the voting wasn't your fault. I just remember being like, man, what a shit show.
Yeah.
This is.
No, I did
garbage.
If anybody remembers
the people, the characters these people are voting for. It's truly the.
Oh boy!
I don't think they still do Saimoe, but that was a thing on. Was it a 2chan or 4chan thing? I don't know, whatever. But it was like a big voting tournament where everybody voted for their favorite anime girls, and I ended up doing one on Japanator 2 years in a row, so that was a fun thing. Actually, my first promoted post though was the review of the K-On! PSP game. So that was
the K-On! PSP game or the Index PSP Fighter game.
The K-On! Game was before the Index.
Got to get started somewhere.
Honestly, your iOS visual novel reviews are what I really remember.
Yep, that came later too. Oh man, I have to link that one because that was fun. I don't even know if the cblog posts still work anymore, but if they do, I'll see if I can dig that.
I almost kind of hope they don't. A part of me, like the lost city of Atlantis. I look back at the Japanator days as a mythical, the mythical story of an age of legend, the myths of a forgotten, of a bygone era that we can speak of in memory, in the experiences that linger in our hearts. But I'd rather not ever actually go back and look at them because
it's gonna sound a lot better when we describe it than going back
yeah. Like, I'd rather not. Basically, I'd rather not see like how I wrote back then.
Right.
Yeah. So as far as what happens next, so you guys ended up forming a chat at some point, and I don't know if that was before or after the actual GLORIO incident, because I came into
it was after.
Okay, so let's
maybe after, because I definitely remember emailing everyone and saying we need to put Yumeiro Patiserie on this slate.
Is that how it started? You guys were just trying to coordinate writing about. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Well, let's talk about then what GLORIO means for anybody that has not spent the 30 seconds required to read it on the website. So, Aqua, I feel like I should turn this over to you because, like I said, this is basically your fault, right?
So, well, where do we start? Back in the Japanator era, there was a rather popular image macro of Yotsuba going around, which is just this picture of Yotsuba looking super excited with the text "glorious" underneath it. And I wanted to post that image in the comments section to a Japanator article. I don't even know which one it is anymore.
It was one of their podcasts.
One of the podcasts. Yeah, I think it was like their podcast coming back from hiatus or something. And so I wanted to put that image macro in there, but Japanator's HTML cblog thing being what it is, it accidentally cut off the image. So my comment just said GLORIO. And everyone made fun of me, but it sticks around, I guess.
Yeah, kind of give him a meme, right?
It was like memes,
local meme,
kind of early era memes.
A very narrow,
yes,
a very narrow demographic meme, but yes.
But I mean, on the site itself, like the rest of the community basically took that as the now de facto word for good.
Yeah.
Or so on other posts and everything, anytime something was cool or whatever, they'd be like, "That looks GLORIO" or whatever, or GLORIO, just put GLORIO in the comments or whatever. And so that kind of, I don't know how at what point that became tied to our identity. Maybe because it was Aqua's fault, but that kind of became our group name somehow. Again, this is all kind of slightly before it, because I was hanging out in the comments and talking to you guys, but you guys at some point, like you said, started a chat group outside of the website.
Yeah.
A tiny chat.
I think it was Mark. Yeah. One of the staff wanted to do more stuff connecting with the community, and so he's like, "Hey, you guys want to do a wrap up type thing or something like that?" And so I remember being emailed by Aquagaze, I think, saying, "Hey, do you want to contribute to this post?"
The whole thing was I had a weekly sort of cblog thing where I...
That's right!
Don't laugh.
That's right! No, I'm laughing because I'm remembering, and it's been so long, Aquagaze's Anime Weekend.
Indeed, where I just watched all of the shows I was watching and just wrote something about it. It started with reviews, but it ended up... I ended up doing a bunch of weird shit, like interviewing the characters or making comics and a bunch of weird stuff that a weird loner in his last year of high school does. I don't know, but for the end,
I forget you guys were babies at that point.
Yeah. But so for the anniversary editions or for Christmas, I always invited some people from the comments or people who read my cblogs to do this kind of everyone gives their take on the episode, which is basically what we still do with the GLORIO blog, right? So it started off just everyone just I was watching this show. Are you also watching this show? Okay, then just give me my opinion. But in the end, we sort of decided decided to sort of make a pool, and everyone could throw something into that pool, and then everyone would watch it, even though we had no context whatsoever. So this is how we ended up, because the collaborative posts were always at the end of the season, so we ended up watching like the finales of shows we had never seen before. I remember
Yeah.
Timmy being in on one of them, who made us watch the final episode of Rio Rainbow Gate. And then write about it.
Hyakurora and Samurai Girls.
Yes, and
Like,
Iro, this idiot, decided
So-
to make us watch episode, I don't know, 33 of season 2 of Yumeiro Patiserie, which is some dumb shoujo
Yeah,
show
so
for
at the
little
time-
girls.
at the time, my brother was dating a girl who was trying to learn how to become a baker, and they were watching together this show for little girls called Yumeiro Patiserie, and it was in its second season, and yeah, like 30 episodes in, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna tell everyone to add this to the slate, and we watched that show. You know, if you jump into episode 30 something of season 2, you can still follow it perfectly. It's probably the mark of a decent kids show.
Yep.
But boy, well, that was a fucking thing.
So yeah,
And then the magic happened.
and then the magic happened, indeed.
Man, you guys have really good memory.
So this was like, I think,
Because
who was in on this? It was me, Iro. I think Timmy was in on that. Zig was there too. But then I don't know how you and Gel ended up joining in.
okay, so the story of how I got in on the GLORIO stuff is not that exciting, frankly. It's not that interesting. Basically, I remember you guys doing this stuff, and I was always kind of just like doing my own shit, basically on the periphery, but like, you know, regularly commenting on what you guys were doing. And then, fucking, I think, I don't know if it was on Twitter or was it one of your cblogs. Like, there was, I guess this was during that nascent era of the internet when you wanted more people in your chat rooms because you would advertise like links to your chat room. We'd be like, "Hey, jump in and chat with us."
I mean, this was
And-
before the era when we realized that random people on the internet could be Nazis.
Right. I mean, like, really, you guys lucked out. You got me instead of, somebody like, even worse, if that's, believable. But yeah, I think one of y'all just like posted a link in Twitter. It was like, "Hey, this is our chat room. Come check us
right.
out."
Yeah, that's right.
And I literally, it was like, man, fuck, I got nothing else to do. Shit, okay. So, to be like, 100% honest, this was like, you could say this was around the period in my life when I was, which, considering I still, browse that site on a semi-regular basis, it probably says something about my own self, but this was around the time period when I was growing increasingly, bored of the somewhat circular and predictable nature of discourse on 4chan. So, I was like, I'm actually kind of getting bored of people just shitting on anime all the time. Maybe I'll try talking to some people who don't just do that. 24/7.
And then you were sorely disappointed.
I mean, yeah. It turns out that I just met other people who also shit on anime 24/7, but without these slurs. So so yeah, I think just one night I was just like, fuck it. So yeah, I checked the link out. I jumped in. I think.
I was like the
Iro-
tiny chat days.
Yeah, this was the Tiny Chat days. Like, I think, Iro, you were there at that time because I guess fucking who else was going to be, like, in the chat on, like,
Mhm.
a Friday or Saturday
Uh-huh.
evening, right?
Throwing some
So-
shade.
But, yeah, I think I just jumped in and we were chatting, and I guess we hit it off because you guys didn't kick me out, so...
And then I said, I've never seen that chicken before in my entire life.
So, yeah, and the story of how I ended up joining you guys is not a super interesting story. I think I just took a chance. I took a chance on you guys, and then you took a chance on me, and the rest is history. So
Then at
So-
some point we made a Skype chat instead of using weird web-based tiny chat.
right. Eventually, then we moved to the Skype. I think once there were more of us, but
Then we were all gathered, but there was something missing. Someone to lead us. Someone with a vision. So what did we do? We placed a Bimbo Gamika DVD set into a rock, and he who would pull it out would become the supreme leader of the GLORIO chat.
Oh man. Actually, you
The
know,
way I remember it was we were all just on one day, and we were like looking at the other people in the comments or something, and said, "This Joe guy's cool. Let's just invite him in." And we just dragged you in.
yeah, I think you like DM'd me on Twitter or something like that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, because we had all been talking for like a year at that point on the site, but like, yeah, and I was off doing my own thing at that point too. I was trying to start my other blog on Tumblr or something like that. I don't know, but then, yeah. So you guys invited me in. I was like kind of the well, we've had a couple people come in since, but that was like out of the initial push there. I joined. By the time I joined, you guys were already on Skype, so you were big time in it. But
yeah, Skype chat, big time in it.
Sure.
yeah, rest in peace, Skype.
I don't know.
I feel like if we were truly big time in it, we would have been like, hanging out in an IRC channel or something, right? Like that's how you know you're truly, legit.
Man, get an AIM,
Putting our splash
AIM
pages in
group or
front of
something.
it.
Yeah. So at some point, I guess we started because I did not participate in any of the Aqua's stuff in the early days, but at some point we did switch over to doing like seasonal guide things like on Japanator, which were kind of the not too far off from what we do now, I guess, as far as like the first looks.
Yeah, kind of the progenitor of the idea of like the very concept of looking forward in time, like looking forward to the next season of anime. I think that was
Yeah, and then we did and we did like first impressions too, kind of similar where we'd have like the verdict and like we do now on the first looks. And I guess was it my idea to start the actual blog? I remember just
the thing is, I started a blog on WordPress, and then you guys were like, "Hey, that's a good idea. Let's do that for the entire chat." And I was like, "But my blog," and then I never used it since.
I just remember. I just remember. I probably stayed up too late, and it was like 3:00 in the morning because I'd been kind of wanting to do it, but I was kicking around like if I didn't want to just start it and like give up on it like a week later. So I kept kicking around the idea like, is this going to be sustainable? Which we'll probably talk about more later. And finally, it was like 3:00 in the morning or something, and I was like, hey, you guys want to start a blog? So yeah, that is our big ambitious start to the GLORIO blog. Is one weekend I was very tired and just decided to say, hey guys, let's do this. But yeah, so we started in July 2012. I remember the first anime we covered was the first look of Kingdom, that awful CG anime, whatever. And
isn't the manga supposed to be
again,
super great?
no need to bring that up in the middle of this podcast, but also another like legitimately decent manga ruined by a truly god awful adaptation. Like in many ways, Kingdom would go on to predict Berserk's fate as like the eventual fate of all really good seinen manga finally getting their long-awaited anime adaptations, which would turn out to always be these all CG affairs that were always laughably bad. But
yeah, so that was
yes, Kingdom. The manga itself is quite decent.
that was not a good not a good anime though.
No, it was awful.
And that somehow went for like 40 episodes or something like
The
that.
manga's
That's
like,
neither here nor there.
What, 60 volumes or some shit?
The manga is basically considered like the big number 2 to Berserk in terms of like that type of dark, violent seinen manga. Like And in fact, because of Berserk's like kind of fall from grace in recent years, Kingdom is actually kind of taking the number one spot in that specific niche.
I also remember that first season. I put the post up for Sword Art Online episode 2 before we put up the first look post for Sword Art Online
Yeah, there were some
because I wasn't paying attention to the schedule.
there were some notable things that season, because that was the original Sword Art Online, and
Sure was.
yeah, we had
Yep.
Aqua already mentioned Bimbo Gamiga was that season.
Second half of Kyoka.
Oh yeah, second half of Hyoko, that was still airing. Yep, because I remember I was writing about that on my blog, and then we started the new one. I think you took over, Iro, doing it after that for the second.
Don't forget, humanity has declined.
Yes, so I was gonna bring that up, because I feel like that was like our first like really great shared moment of the GLORIO blog, where I was like, all right, we got
our first dark horse.
Yeah, where it was like, all right, we got something going here, because really the whole thing with us doing this blog, my single favorite aspect of it, aside from working with you guys, of course, is the the fact that since we're forced to watch everything, we end up finding these weird like dark horse shows that we would have never watched otherwise that end up being incredibly entertaining. And in that first season, there was a show called Humanity Has Declined, which had for my money, one of the best first 2 episodes I've seen in the past 6 years of watching anime, including one particular moment, rest in peace, Loaf-chan, where we all kind of bonded a bit over that, I feel like. Just like waiting to see everybody's reactions. We made everybody watch it, and go ahead, G.
Well,
bonded over the graphic suicide of a loaf of bread.
Now this is the part where I have to push back against your own rosy memories of this time period, Joe, because I distinctly recall, I think it is right around Humanity Has Declined, that was the catalyst for me not contributing to the blog for the first 3 months or so of its existence, because my own memory is that other than the debut of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Fate Zero, that 2012 was unilaterally one of the worst years of anime that I can remember.
What about the hit Mecha? What about the hit Mecha show, Love Level Alternative Total Eclipse?
But
yeah, 2012 definitely.
Man, you do not need to remind me that.
2012 definitely had some low lows, but there were some pretty good shows.
No, I'm not trying to discount that you guys enjoyed that show, but I definitely remember at the time you guys were all like, "Hey, you gotta fucking watch this show. Humanity Has Declined." And my first impression, because again, I didn't like the show in the long run, but I will admit my reasoning for not liking the show initially was pretty bad, of just me looking at the art style being like, I don't know, this kind of looks like trash. But
all right, hang on, Gia, it's coming back to me. Was it because of her hair?
Yeah.
Because she had the short hair in the beginning, and then she gets the long hair later. I remember you being mad about that.
No, yeah, you're totally right. I was like, oh.
Did that ruin everything? Did that ruin anime for you for 3 months?
No, like, yeah,
because she did not have short hair.
Like, oh, hey, check out this short-haired chick. What's going on here? Ugh, betrayal. But yeah, no, I remember just watching that show and being like, yeah, I don't really think I have much to add to this blog, guys. Get back to me when JoJo starts airing. And so I kind of just hibernated on the blog for its early months. But yeah, so again, not to say that your guys' mutual enjoyment of Humanity Has Declined was not a defining moment of the blog, but for me, the primary memory was just, man, I don't know if I teamed up with the right guys for this blog. Y'all seem to have some weird takes on anime, but we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, that was a very bizarre show, which I can't deny that. But anyways, yeah. So we got our start July 2012. We're now 24 seasons later.
Christ.
Something around over 600 shows that we've covered.
Yeah.
thousands of posts. I didn't get an actual post count.
For like 3,000 or something.
It's got to be more than that, because I think I've personally done like almost 2,000 myself. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give out our stats per se, but millions of views, if you want to say that.
Sure.
Millions
of hits.
Yeah, it's been
asterisks.
Been quite a ride. Yeah. So I think what I wanted to do is maybe talk about some of our favorite things that happened, some of our maybe less favorite things that happened, some of the highlights, the lowlights, favorite stuff. Obviously we do our regular anime coverage, and we have first looks and the roundup and all that, and that's cool. I kind of like when we go off the grid and do things creative, which obviously takes a lot more time and effort, and we don't do it very often. But probably my favorite thing is things we've done have been some of the April Fool's jokes. I don't know about you guys.
Well, to be fair, that's a lot of work on your part.
That first fucking year.
maybe we should recap the jokes we've done for April Fools.
Not all of them were that great, but
yeah, some of them were better than others.
A couple of them were really good.
Because a couple years I just didn't have time to really do anything, so I kind of just slapped something together. But even the first year was kind of like a fairly last minute, if I remember, thing where I was like, well, because the first one would have been, since we started July 2012, first one would have been
online. Yeah,
first one would have been April 2013, and by then we had well established that we all hate Sword Art Online.
Well, everyone else loved Sword Art Online.
Well, that was the hot property at the time, and so we thought it would be funny to ironically do a. Was the entire thing Sword Art Online fan fiction?
Rebrand.
We turned the website into a Sword Art Online fan site, but the only actual article we published, I think, was about the fan fiction.
Right.
Yeah, my Super Arrow Kawaii fanfic review.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or some shit.
Yep. And
I think two of them were actual fanfic, and one was just the chapter 16.5.
Yes, the actual one written by the author, notoriously. Which, to be fair, that got us a lot of page views.
Which also has its origins in some other dumb thing we did back in the Japanator days.
That's right. Well, let's not dredge up too much old memories.
Oh, the fan fiction reading thing you guys used to do.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, because I also remember I made the border with like the awful tiled Sword Art Online art and like yellow Comic Sans.
Oh, I remember that. Yes. It looked great.
Yeah, this will keep coming back. I seem to have a knack for making awful graphic design, but yeah. But and that was also
it's a skill in and of itself.
Yeah, that was also I kind of miss our old layout, because we had the layout for through 2013 with like the old theme, and I had the idea of like making a new like kind of border graphic thing every season.
Yeah.
It's not that much work, right?
Yeah. As
I remember
just mentioned.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work. It was cool though.
No, I really liked it. I remember always really enjoying that theme to our blog. It was well, I think we eventually changed because A, it was a fair amount of work, and B, I think that was right around the time when we were starting to think like, well, if we want to like start angling towards some degree of legitimacy as an anime coverage institution, we would have to move away from that and like adopt our own.
Stop using copyrighted art.
I mean, yes, mainly that.
Right, because it was cool, but it was very much like a fan site type of vibe,
right,
to it, as instead of a professional, serious anime journalism source.
Yeah, look where we are now. Clearly, right after that makeover, we went legit. And now we are, some of the most well-known and well-respected names in anime criticism.
Yep.
Clearly,
yes.
Sure thing.
History will validate us.
Yeah, the fun part of that was
6 years straight.
I had to like try to predict like what was gonna be a good show, and also make a new border, because I would always make them before the season started. So like I'd have to like look at the shows coming up and say, oh, this show looks like cool. So that's how we ended up with like a robotics notes border.
Oh yeah, I remember. See, the robotics notes one is what I always remember the most, just because that one was a really good border.
It looked awesome, but the show did not live up to the show did not live up to the art.
Yeah,
but,
and I mean, like, let's see. I mean, the other one I remember is the Gargantia one.
Yeah, that one looked really nice.
Once again, showing that perhaps, Shell, you were not, you did not make the best bets on.
Well, that show was better than robotic notes.
Oh, sure. If we're talking about that, if that's the bar we're talking about, better than robotics notes. Fuck, man. I mean,
it's a low bar, but yeah. Some of the other April Fools we did a BuzzFeed parody thing.
That's right.
I remember that one.
This last year we did the
95.
Yeah, that was the best one. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. We this year we did Roll the GLORIO Gotcha, which was I probably spent more time on that than it looks like I did, because I had to
figure out how to make a truly random post.
Yeah, I had to figure out how to program it the way I wanted it to do it.
I mean, you know what? Like the first time I tried that out, my very first roll was a 5-star Moe Hitler. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the best gotcha game I've ever played.
Yeah.
So before we started, this is like my old shame, because this was funny in 2012. It's not funny anymore.
Oh, I don't know. It's still kind of funny in 2022.
Like before we started, I had a picture of Hitler with like Rose of Versailles shoujo eyes sparkling, and I thought it was hilarious.
I think first text post or something.
I made it our first post backdated to the day of Hitler's death. And so on our blog, I'm outing myself here, but if you go back, there's a post marked like 1946 or whatever. 45.
Gosh.
With just a picture of just a picture of Hitler, which I thought was hilarious at the time.
I don't know, man. What's the what is the controversy that's going to hound you?
Right?
Anime blogger posts picture of Hitler looking stupid. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Oh boy.
To me, the real start of the GLORIO blog wasn't until Zig made that comment about Rock You Boo fans, and the internet got pissed at him.
Yeah, I always remember that too. Because weird. It's almost like Rock You Boo is a bad show.
Yeah,
which one was
that? We talked about that in another episode,
like little
didn't
girls playing basketball.
Yeah, it was like the Lolicon bait show with the
the lolly basketball. Yeah.
Okay. Zig said something like they can all die in a fire or something like that. I don't remember how exactly what he said, and that made people mad. But yeah. G, you mentioned the best April Fool's one we did was definitely the 1995 one.
What a great!
That's my personal favorite.
That's one of my favorite things we've ever done. Where we pretended the blog was existing on that day in 1995, so we like reviewed old shows like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball.
Which episodes of those shows were airing that week in 1995?
Yep. We put a lot of work into that.
Yeah.
Said and done.
I completely redid the site design to look like something like a GeoCities page from like
Oh man.
Actually,
Japanimation.
Yeah, like we replaced all uses of anime with Japanimation.
We even did a season preview.
Yeah, we did like an annual preview thing with the greatest header image of all time. I'm just gonna go ahead and claim that is the greatest header image ever made.
I remember you making one and me saying, that's the wing 0, which shows up halfway through the series. You need to put the regular wing.
Yeah, no, you gotta make it's gotta be correct.
We gotta make this accurate. But yeah. So that was good times. I'll definitely link that again because that was one of my favorite things we've done. But yeah,
it really worked out too because at the time Marlon was showing me G Gundam for the first time. And
that
it
was
just so happened
airing at that time in 1995, right?
Yes, the last episode aired that week in 1995,
Mhm.
and so we were able to put a like G Gundam final impressions post
Yup.
as I had just finished actually watching it by pure happenstance.
Yeah, a lot of stuff came together with that, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, anytime we had a kind of an opportunity to do some like creative stuff, like like I've tried to do like those Lost and Founds posts, which did not age well.
Ah,
That kind of stuff was a lot of
Ugh.
fun.
yeah.
And of course, I think the year-end stuff has kind of evolved into our opportunity to do something.
Ah, my annual nightmare.
I mean, I was gonna say more like, oh right, we all
me
live
just-
real lives and are too busy to like do regular coverage, so we might as well just cram all of our thoughts about the anime of the year, anime over the year, into like one big post at the very end.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I mean, the direction I gave everybody on that is just write whatever you want, so long as it's like looking back at that year, and it has.
Mhm.
I think most of us do sort of kind of a retrospective thing, but we've seen some other things too, like Aqua does his big music roundup post.
Yeah.
Zig gives his State of the Union address every year, that kind of stuff. So, that's a lot of fun, and it's also then we have our.
And then we do our blind voting for top 10.
Yeah, and then we have our big top 10 shows of the year, which has created some pretty interesting lists. Although I feel like the last couple ones have been pretty decent. Some of the earlier
Sure. Go with that.
ones were pretty weird.
Well, yes.
I have to answer for that one.
Just like here, this boy show that Timmy voted for. Here's this like stupid, ugly philosophical horror that Aqua voted for. Here's this
Aw.
hot-blooded shonen that everyone else voted for.
I have to live.
Our list that has like Another and Mr. Girlfriend X as like the best shows of the year or
I
whatever.
did not vote for either of
I don't-
these.
Mysterious Girlfriend X is very good. I will defend that one.
I know.
Like, as far as I can remember, ever since, I think 2013, I feel like, I don't know, most of the lists have turned out pretty good if you ask me. So,
Yeah, if you want if you want any
almost
proof
like-
that I'm not rigging the vote, I don't think my number one has been number one since like 2013. So
it's almost like my number one has always been our blog's number one every year.
So
since
maybe I am
2013,
rigging the
so-
vote, and she's been blackmailing me. I don't know. This is not a cry for help, but
Yet
Sure.
G still won't shut the hell up about his favorite not-making show of the decade.
Which was that Shobako?
What? No, he's talking about Yamato.
oh, we did.
Oh.
Yeah, which is the actual number one anime of the decade, Space Battle. So 21.
Yeah, we did that. Was that 2015? We did a midpoint of the decade list because I just felt like doing a top 10 list.
And like some
That's
fucking
right.
flavor of the month trash one, number one.
Yeah, we alluded to that last podcast.
Right.
But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So those are always kind of a highlight of the year for me personally, anyway. when we get
I
to
would
the
agree.
days.
I would agree. Like in all seriousness, I truly, legitimately enjoy doing the end of year posts because, as much as I was joking, it is hard to do regular coverage of every show every season, even if it's the ones we truly like.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially as our lives have progressed.
yeah,
Longer
like,
in.
at
I'm
its
no longer right out of high school.
Right. Because I mean, at its core, the GLORIO blog has always been like a hobby for us. It's not a thing we, not for lack of trying, but it's not something we can really monetize, or turn into a full time thing. But that does mean that there are a lot of anime that I think that we all care about, that we all really like and enjoy. But it's just finding the time to write these fairly lengthy posts every week is just not feasible. I mean, this year alone, I would have loved to have written I would have loved to have done full coverage for Megalobox or Devilman Crybaby, it's just not in the cards, for better or worse. So the end of year posts are always kind of a chance to be like, hey, these are shows that our individual posts are like, these are the shows that I really like, that I truly, legitimately, really want to fight for, and just didn't have time to give it its due earlier in the year. So here's my chance to get the message out.
Mhm.
So what would you say was like your favorite post you've ever done for the blog?
That's an interesting question.
Does me doing random manga for like 2 years count as one post?
Sure.
So for the first 2 years of the blog, I went to at the time the main pirate manga site was Batoto. I think they're dead now.
Yeah, rest in peace.
And they had a random button.
We're bringing up a lot of dead websites this podcast.
I mean, the fact that we've outlasted them,
Yes.
what does that say,
So I'd click on that random button until I got something that looked interesting, and I would review it. And I did this every week for 2 years.
You've predicted half the new anime for the past 6 years.
Something like 10% of them have become anime since.
Yeah, no, I would say Random Manga Theater has a pretty good track record.
Going back to
Except
those,
for that 1 week when I did a lollipop or a bullet, which still hasn't gotten an anime.
Right. I mean, the rest of y'all did 1 or 2 when I was like, I can't do this.
going.
No, I remember.
Going back to those, because when you ended it, you did like the retrospective like collection of in 2 volumes of every post, and going back to that as like the some like lost text of Nostradamus or something to predict what anime will be coming out within the next 10 years. So we have quite a few to go. We just have to wait for Oni Nyan to get.
Oh, god damn it!
Get a.
God damn it!
Still no fucking Holy Land anime.
That was a drama, right?
Or where's our fucking Rock and Roll Ricky anime?
Oh hell yeah!
It seems like quite frankly, I feel like Random Manga Theater's powers are mostly used for evil. Bringing,
True.
Some of the worst manga into the anime world rather than the good ones we covered. So.
We just had one this season with
Josh and Dropkick or whatever.
Dropkick on My Devil, whatever it ended up being called. So yeah, that kind of goes back to like because I feel like when we started out, we wanted to do a lot of different things, like covering video games and manga and all that. And if we're gonna if I'm gonna hand out if I'm gonna hand out any advice on this podcast to other anime bloggers, as if I'm actually in a position to do that, it's probably better to stay a little more focused. So we're mostly focused on anime and tokusatsu, so basically like TV shows. Since then, every now and then we'll throw in like a video game post when I want to write about Nier or something like that. But
I think the better advice to give is don't cover video games ever.
Well, I mean, the sad truth is if we actually wanted to ever, monetize this, that would actually be way more profitable than anime, right?
Yeah.
Like,
there ain't no money in the anime, coverage game as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, IGN is doing it.
Well, I mean...
Okay, so when's our Fortnite feature?
Yes.
Hey, I did an anime battle royale 2 seasons ago, so there you go. But yeah, Aqua, what is it? Because you brought it up. What is your favorite post then?
I think...
What would you say?
My favorite post, like the one I'm still most proud of, is the infamous Kantai post.
Yes.
Boy, we got a lot of hits from that.
The most viewed GLORIO post of all time.
Yeah, that's probably the one that
negative
for
press.
all the wrong reasons.
Really blew up the most, yeah.
Before its time, considering the discourse of the internet these days.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, considering the discourse of Kantai itself eventually, right? Like, I feel like that was...
Well, as in, what, people still care about Kantai? I thought it's about Azure Lane now.
Girls Frontline,
yes, you're not wrong, but...
Girls
back in the day, the hot new gacha game was Kantai, which was basically about these World War II era warships who were also cute little girls. And I found it a very fascinating subject to talk about how Japan deals with its past regarding World War II and how it is often portrayed in anime. So I used that game as a sort of
Springboard.
springboard to look into how Japan covers World War II, and basically came out concluding that they do it rather poorly, as they have a long time history of ignoring several of the atrocities they committed and just focusing on, hey, this is a cool ship. What if we made it a cute little girl? And
What if we named the bad guy ships after the Allies?
Yeah,
Japanese
that's
media
it.
having difficulty confronting its past? Tell
Yeah,
me
it's
more.
like-
So yeah, I tried writing like an actual research article about it. I even cited my sources and all of that. But let's just say that certain image boards did not take lightly to this article. And in retrospect, this was, I think, half a year before a certain reactionary movement within gamer culture rose from the ashes of 4chan, and maybe we should have seen it coming. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I think right, like hindsight is 2020, but I think in many ways the response to that article very much did speak to the kind of reactionary sentiment that was, I guess, for better or worse, always kind of in the wider, I don't know, nerd culture or what have you.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I mean, but that article definitely like made me want to look at anything I was covering from a more,
Nuanced
academic
perspective.
angle, more nuanced. Not even well. I mean, from like, it made me realize that there is politics in everything, and that is something that I've been trying to elaborate on in my blogging ever since. Which brings me to my favorite show to cover, which was oddly enough Love Life Sunshine.
Your coverage on
Yes.
that was freaking hardcore. Like,
That was some of the best coverage we've had for sure.
But yeah, deep dive analysis of Love Life Sunshine. I really enjoyed doing that, like reading
like
way
most
too
popular
much
franchise ever.
into this
Whatever.
terrible show, trying to like look at it from all angles, trying to understand why do people like this, and not
Whole
just
meaning.
why do perverted men who like little girls dancing in short skirts like this, but also why do people I respect like this? Why do women like this?
Yeah.
It was like I tried to look at that thing from all different angles, even from my own personal life, and
Yeah.
it was a complete disaster. I couldn't
truly,
do it, but
truly
it was
squeezing blood from a stone.
it was a journey well worth taking. I have to say that.
Yeah. I feel like it's, big surprise, the more the more time and effort we get that we can spend to put into something, usually the better results that we get.
No, I mean,
But I know for me, like probably my favorite post was the one I did on how Osamatsu saved anime. And I
Yes.
spent a lot of time researching numbers and doing math and put a lot of work into that. And I thought it came out pretty good. But, it's the kind of thing I would love to do more of. But, again, as you mentioned, this is our hobby. And, we all have busy lives. I've been working full time for 20 years. I only have so much time and energy to put into those kinds of things, unfortunately. But
Note to the audience: Jill is 50 years old.
yes, I remind everyone every week or every podcast or every episode or whatever, I'm an old man. So
right. I mean,
yeah, I mean, getting to put the time into that, it took me a long time to do. Was a lot of fun, and I thought it came out pretty good. But yeah, anytime we get to kind of rate something, I mean, that post wasn't super serious, but it was just a kind of an interesting.
well, I think it's more that like, it's not even necessarily like about being super serious, but more having the time to be able to pour into like really thinking about what you're writing and getting to make something more substantial than just coverage or a take on
Right.
on whatever's airing that season. I mean, for for my own personal, example, for my very sporadic feature, Pilgrimage to Mecha, that I truly wish I had more time to write
The
about.
best.
Watching entire shows takes a long time, as it turns out.
Yeah, it turns out watching old 50-episode TV series takes a while.
The best feature title in the GLORIO blog. Pilgrimage.
Yeah,
to
I can't even take credit for that one. I think I was that Marlon?
That was me.
Oh, that was you. Okay. Yeah, but what? You're not gonna admit that was one of the better feature titles we've come
I mean,
up with?
that's what I also feel a little bad about, but
At
Whatever.
least
It's
it's
fun.
not something that ends in up.
But,
Yeah, all of my very creative feature titles.
But yeah, I guess if we're talking about our favorite posts of all time, I guess for me it's probably the Pilgrimage to Mecha post I did for the original Mobile Suit Gundam, because not nearly as important or far-reaching or socially relevant in the time we wrote it, but
That was a lot of work, though.
that
was
yeah, it was a lot of work. Watching the original show, but then also I spent a long time kind of thinking about because for those who don't read it, because there's only 8 posts made over the course of 4 years, Pilgrimage to Mecha is a feature where I cover an old, or not even always so old, mecha anime that I never watched, to kind of further complete my mastery of the genre, so to speak, and so for one of them I decided to, as a Gundam fan, I had never watched the original Gundam, and I had always kind of been vaguely aware of its influence and its creation of the term real robot. You can all go back to the Mecha podcast for that summary again, but I had never really wrangled with the original. A lot of those shows from the 70s and 80s, I had always kind of subconsciously avoided just because of the unfortunate passage of time, that what that had done to these shows. But first, before this, I had watched the original SDF Macross, and I think it helped prepare myself for these kind of old shows.
right.
And I really enjoyed this one because it was kind of the platonic ideal of what I wanted that feature to be, which was watching a show, from start to finish, and then writing about not only my own feelings about it, but kind of taking an analytical approach to why was this show important? Why is this show well remembered? Why is this show significant in the grander scheme of the genre itself? And watching the original Gundam opened my eye to a lot of things. It opened my eyes to a lot of things about the genre that I had just taken for granted or just assumed, were intrinsic to the genre. And between that and then going back and watching some even older, series, if not to completion, then at least a few episodes, making me realize how truly dramatic of a shift in the genre the original Mobile Suit Gundam was. So,
Yeah.
Again, not like a very important feature, for anybody but me, really. It's a very personal feature, all said and done. It doesn't really...
Well, and then you dragged me into the world of Gundam.
Yes, yeah, yes, I did leverage that to
Gundam
drag
Build
Hero
Fighters,
into,
the greatest marketing campaign of all time.
Yes, into the tragedy that is the Gundam fandom.
Yeah,
But
I'm go ahead.
just
Sorry.
yeah, I'll just finish by saying, but just in general, that feature helped me better recontextualize, many of my antagonistic feelings about the mecha genre, but also why I still have a deep appreciation for it. So, in the end of at the end of the day, not not important, also B, not relevant, because all of these shows are at least 10 to 20 years old, but from a personal standpoint, these are the kind of features that I'm grateful to the blog for, for giving me the vehicle to create.
Yeah. I'm still just surprised that you got Artemis to watch Gunbuster.
That did happen, didn't it?
Yeah, one of our guest posts.
And she liked it.
I mean,
Gunbuster's
spoilers.
good, as it turns
yeah,
out.
Gunbuster's pretty fucking good.
Gunbuster's actually pretty good. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
So
That's probably the feature we need to bring back most of all.
Was it Anime
Is it
Club?
Anime Club. Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss that feature, and I feel bad that I sort of inadvertently killed it. So
No, it's
Well,
not.
you-
It's
you,
Zig killed it because he still hasn't watched some
Wow,
of
I
the
think,
throwing
it was,
shade.
I think it was Zig's turn.
No,
No,
but,
Joel
yeah.
and I,
I didn't
Joel
wanna
and I
call
were
him
supposed
out.
to do it, and both of us shirked.
I mean, well, more than
Yeah.
like, we had repeatedly stressed that hey, maybe we keep these shows to like one core 12 to 13 episode shows, but I couldn't think of anything else to recommend to Zig, so it's just like, hey, here, watch this 26 episode series that I thought was pretty good. But
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to commit that. I know for me, like I have to. When I decided to do the roundup, I basically committed to watching at least like 5 shows a
Right,
season and writing about them all. It's like it's hard for me to find time to fit in another
of
full
course,
series
totally. I
on
mean,
top
same
of
issue with Pilgrimage to Mecca.
that.
But
Yeah, so it is something I would love to revive somehow if we magically had more
I
time to
really-
do it, because I
yeah,
think
you
it's
know, I
a
mean-
really fun
the
idea.
GLORIO OVA
Um,
Club.
I mean, even just talking about it now, like, it really is a shame, or it would be really nice to bring it back, just because, like, why do we write the blog in a lot of ways? It's to share our thoughts about anime, right? And in many ways, we hope to share those thoughts with other people. And I think Anime Club was, in a weird way, like a very focused encapsulation of that concept. The concept of I really like this anime, I want other people to watch it,
Yeah.
and
Right. I like the idea of kind of knocking us out of our comfort zones a
totally.
little bit.
I never would have
'cause
watched Nichijou.
We all have our like, we all have like our thing
Yes.
at this point, right? Where G's the mecha guy, I'm the comedy guy, Marlon's the romance guy, whatever. So it's kind of nice to like have a means of forcing ourselves to expand into other areas.
Totally.
But, yeah. All right. So a lot of cool stuff we've done, I guess. Is there any other? Am I missing any other features or that need to come back before we move on?
The
Or...
script thing we used to do was a podcast, I think. Where,
Yeah. I vaguely recall a podcast that you missed once upon a time on this blog.
I guess that is something that we've brought
Yeah.
back from the dead a couple times, and amazingly we've
Pretty
made it
cool.
stick.
Yeah, this is our best run.
this time
Like
for
I'm
now.
really happy about
like
it.
yeah, like as much as I joke about patting ourselves on the back, I think I actually do want to like just say like good work to you guys, to all of us. That like we're at least making a pretty decent effort of making it stick this time.
Yeah.
Who says where we'll be in 2019? But for now, the fact that we can reliably record a new podcast every 2 weeks is I don't know.
Yep.
It's tougher
Pretty
than it
cool.
sounds. It's tougher than it sounds. So.
The best anime podcast on the internet.
Exactly.
Best one, oldest one, everything.
All right.
All the hyperbole.
All the superlatives. I'm gonna run out of them someday, but yeah. All right, so those are like kind of some of our high points. I thought it'd be fun to look back and laugh at some of the bad times. We already talked about like right off the bat. We had Sword Art Online,
Ugh.
and which
We're still feeling that.
little did we know that would set off a whole big bang of.
Oh no, I think we knew.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still feeling the Sword Art Online one.
Yeah.
It really changed my online presence. No, I mean, you have to understand that when Sword Art Online aired, I was going through a pretty rough patch in my life, and that show just sort of affirmed all of the worst things about the community I had found myself a home in.
Yeah.
And it just made me doubt. It was like, is this really what I want? Is this what I want?
These are the people I want to hang out with.
Are these the people I want to hang out with? Is this the life are these the values that I want to dedicate myself to?
I mean, yeah.
In retrospect, I probably overreacted to that show, but I still feel like I vented something there that I should have vented, and that eventually helped me to make the right choices in my life.
Yeah.
Even though I sometimes think about how things could have been different, but Go ahead. Yeah.
I think that, obviously definitely not to discount your experience, because I think Sword Art Online was for many anime fans kind of a reckoning with, oh, A, anime kind of sucks, but B, anime fans also kind of suck.
Yeah.
And, like...
Well, I mean, for some people that was the take, and then for other people it was like, oh, this is awesome.
right. And I guess,
it started a whole new... But it kind of split the...
right.
Split the fandom.
I mean,
there.
my secret to surviving, my secret to surviving Sword Art Online was, spoilers, I kind of always knew anime fans sucked. Like, anime fandom was never good. So it has always been dog shit. It's just that dog shit was, fairly contained or under the surface. But I guess Sword Art Online was kind of maybe the mainstreamification of how terrible anime fandom could truly be. But
yeah,
it was definitely that realization that, oh, actually, you can't always just commiserate with other anime fans about bad anime, because actually there is a large number of them who truly, truly enjoy this stuff. And, now obviously not to say Sword Art Online was the first, bad anime that was super popular. I mean, as a Mecha fan, I still have to contend with Gundam Seed fans to this day. But, I think it was kind of that realization that...
Well, it wasn't so much that it was...
Oh, you can make something...
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and finish,
go ahead.
G, sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, it was the realization that, oh, you can have these, like, really, I don't know, I don't want to say necessarily offensive, but, maybe offensive to your taste, kind of anime that lots of people that, maybe even lots of people personally are going to eat up. No.
I think it wasn't even so much that Sword Art Online was bad, it's the way it was bad, and it was kind of...
and rewarded for being bad in that specific way.
But it was bringing in this shift into the new type of power fantasy that we see now. That, I mean, not that they didn't necessarily exist before, but this, like you said, this was bringing it into the mainstream, because like this was now the biggest anime going at that time, and even now is still a big deal.
We had seen anime before. We had seen anime with bad politics before. We'd seen offensive anime before, but this was like the first time that it worked. Like,
they put it into a palatable package.
For the bad anime before that, was like, okay, yeah, sure, there may be people who like this, but they're just like weird perverts. But
right, it was very easy to rationalize it that way.
Yeah, but for Sword Art Online, I saw it happening, and it's like, and I just realized like, there are people who agree with this. Like, there are people whose life, whose viewpoints in life align with the values that this show is trying to posit, right. And it was very tough for me to sort of wrap my head around that.
I just remember seeing shortly after airing, I remember I was telling you guys about when I was at the mall, and there was like kids cosplaying randomly for whatever reason, and like the dude was dressed up as Naruto, and there were two girls dressed up as two different versions of Asuna, and I'm like, that's the level of mainstream that Sword Art Online has hit, where I can just randomly go to the mall, and like Naruto was already in that level, but now Sword Art Online is like getting in that same conversation.
Right, it's like when you're walking around, in like your local like Asian mall, you expect to see, the fucking kid in the headband, doing the ninja run. You don't expect to see the guy in the black cloak with the two swords. You think to yourself, no way could that one be popular. But
boy, yeah.
But yeah, we certainly had that. We had is the Emoto craze over? I guess not, because we still had.
No, I don't think so.
There's another one coming up, so
we still had Arrow Manga Sensei. Not that long ago.
I mean,
almost made me quit. It almost made me quit.
I mean, if anything, the sister thing, is more. I mean, okay, let's be frank. That shit has been around for a very long time. But what I was saying is, it's more that, Oremo and the like, I think all they really just did is not really turn it into a craze, so to speak, but perhaps more insidiously they've normalized it.
Galvanized it to the mainstream.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And lots of
Yep.
idols. I feel like idols is
Yep.
definitely still very much a thing.
Oh yeah.
As we're trying to, as I want to like
Bigger than
review
ever.
Starlight so badly, and yet it refuses to not be an idol show. So I mean, and I, we've got all different types of idols, even a lot of guy idol shows.
Boy idols are extremely popular.
Yeah, so that's been a big thing.
The three eyes. What's the right?
Emotos.
Isekai, idols, and emotos.
Yep.
The three eyes of anime.
Yep.
The deadly trio.
Yeah, the deadly trio. Oh man, I'm starting to have, because now I'm starting to think of just like some of the worst shows now, and if we're on the,
We did this
might
last
also
time.
have-
We did this last time. We can't go back.
I know,
to
we already touched on some of them last time.
Okay, we just gotta.
Yeah, no, I was specifically thinking with the Emotos, the one with the girl that had the chastity belt.
Another random manga theater. I love
yeah.
that.
There were some bad ones.
Again, just a legacy of Iro using his powers purely for evil.
It's not my fault. I can't control it.
I'm telling you, my new bar for when we shut down the blog is when the Oninyan anime happens, because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
God.
That's going to be
the thing is, it's
apocalypse.
non-zero chance it'll happen. Like, I don't know, man.
I have to link. I'm not even gonna get into that right now. I'll link it in the notes so in case anybody missed what Oninyan is, but it's exactly what it sounds like. Anybody want to throw in any of the other like worst shows that we haven't mentioned already?
I mean, I'm not going to spend too long, but I could always just complain about All Noah Zero again. But I think that one is highly
Darling the Franks.
or Darling the Franks, yes. But All Noah Zero is highly contained, so I think.
Okay, G, I have to.
I think the anathema was unique to just me, so.
G, I have to ask because somebody commented saying that Darling and the Franks was better than, what was it? Iron Blooded Orphans and All Noah Zero combined. I think they were still, for the record,
now,
they were saying, I think they were still saying Darling and the Franks is bad, but they were trying to say that those shows were even worse. What is your take on that,
so,
G?
That is an interesting take. Now, I think it is overall unfair. Iron-Blooded Orphans is a deeply flawed show. I don't think we can get away from that, but...
It wasn't all bad.
Right, there are many things... Yeah, there were many things decent about it. It had cool robots. It had like 2 decent robot fights in its entire 50-episode run. The music was really good. The ending was actually quite good. It's just that the journey it took to get there was, fundamentally incompatible with the ending. But it certainly had its good moments. So, I think that, the take is unfair because even All Noah Zero, like, I really disliked All Noah Zero. I had a particular, anathema to that show in a way that has not been evoked, until Darling and the Franks aired. But, I don't know, maybe it's just that time heals all wounds, but, I'll just say it here for the record. No, you know what? I can't.
You got all the way here and you can't pull the trigger, huh?
I was about to say Noah Zero is probably better than Darling in the Franks. But no, I'm thinking back. I am no. See, here's the good thing about me. I am very good at getting angry about things I should have gotten over long ago, but
you don't say.
I can
say.
I can feel it. I can feel it welling up in me again. God, fuck All Noah Zero. Holy shit! God damn it! I hate that show so fucking much. That protagonist, what a piece of garbage. Holy fucking shit! Everything wrong. Everything wrong with real robots. Everything wrong with modern mecha anime. Everything wrong. Like just an encapsulation of all of the worst traits of quote-unquote what anime writers think real robot anime is, but completely fails to achieve it, and in fact, goes out of its way to execute it in the most offensive way possible. No, fuck All Noah Zero. Hate that show
Alright.
so much.
Man, there it is.
There it is.
Aqua,
So,
is there any shows you want to throw on the pile or lighting things on fire?
I mean, I wrote that post last year about the worst stuff we've ever covered. There's been a lot of bad stuff, but there's
That's
nothing
true.
that has personally offended or broken me as much as Sword Art Online did.
Yeah. I remember trying. I don't know. I still don't know why. And you guys tried to stop me. I know.
We tried to stop you. I told you not to.
I tried to cover Sword Art Online Season 2 for the sake of just like, I don't know, an intellectual exercise or something like that.
what, journalistic integrity?
Yeah, I just and I think I made it to like episode 5 or something, and I could not do it. Somewhere around where he was playing the game where he learned how to dodge bullets and nobody else could do it in Gun.
You didn't even get to the girl who had AIDS, man.
Yeah, I didn't even get to the girl who literally had AIDS. But yeah, like there was a couple incidents, like it was that, and like when I tried to watch Total Eclipse, which we already mentioned, where I thought, I know this show is bad, I know I'm not gonna like it, but just as like an interesting like criticism, intellectual exercise thing, let me watch it. And I'm never gonna do that again, not for an entire series. That was just like a waste of my time. But Iro, you have anything you want to throw on the bonfire here? Anything Fate related?
Fate franchise. Whole damn thing.
Just the Fate franchise in its entirety.
Zero ended before we started, like right before we started the blog, and almost everything since sucked.
Episode 23 of Unlimited Blade Works.
Okay, Unlimited Blade Works was okay, but that's also quote, and so you can put a very clear divide in Fate of like old Fate to new Fate. And it's like straight up every. Yes. Yes. Leave me alone.
I mean, we will just tell all fans to please refer to
everything past. Yeah.
Which episode do we talk about Fate? Episode 5 of the GLORIO chat for the State of Fate.
Yeah, something like that. Just goes in that where I pretty much laid out, but like, what Zero's good. Zero. The adaptations of the visual novel are generally all right. Carnival Phantasm is good, and the new cooking thing is good, but like all the spin-offs are total bullshit. They all suck. They're bad.
Did they ever actually finish Fate Extra? I know that was trouble.
Was that the one that was it Shaft? Was that Shaft doing that? Is that the one where they like fucking exploded trying to finish it?
Yeah, like I don't think that's even finished yet.
It is. It's finished. It's on Netflix.
Oh, good.
Right, but like
I think it took
it
took a while.
Cuts off at episode 10 before the final battle, and
okay.
I don't think that's been aired yet. So I don't know what's going on anymore.
They just give up or something. Yeah. I don't
Anything
know.
past Grand Order is just a mess. I should probably update my bio on the blog to like.
Yeah, our bios need
saying like
very much.
I love Fate.
No, Ira, I'm sorry, but just like I must forever live with the label of Gundam fan, you must forever endure the brand that is the Fate fandom.
That's true.
These are the fates that we have chosen.
Gonna carry that weight.
Yes.
I mean, Iro, I think my bio, I'm still tied to Monogatari, so could be much worse.
Well,
could be much worse.
Maybe those bios have not aged as well as we thought then.
Yeah, we should probably update those at some point. But anyway, all right. Well, there have been a lot of good times, a lot of bad times.
It's true.
And I think there are still some more times to come.
Fun hopes.
Times.
I put in our notes asking the question, why are we still here? And
just to suffer.
It's a good question.
It's a good question. I mean, I'm still having fun.
It's inertia, right? At this point, like
it is a habit to a certain degree, for sure. I
like
time
with my friends.
Yeah, I'm. A lot of it is just us kind of enjoying hanging out together and doing this project together. I feel like I said, I'm still having fun. I still enjoy, watching all the anime and writing about it, even as I have less time and energy over the years. But, it's kind of been our, we talked a little bit in the beginning what our kind of philosophy on the blog has been. We decided pretty early we weren't going to try to make money because, trust me, if there was a way to make money on writing about anime, I probably would have pushed harder in that direction. But there's not. Just go look at Anime News Network.
Ooh,
And
shade.
and yeah, so if you're not, and if you're gonna, there's nothing wrong with trying to make money and get popular, but there's a certain game you have to play to make that happen. And I just,
Man, it's all your guys' fault I'm not popular.
yeah, right. And so if you're not going to do that, then the next priority is like, well, I want to have fun doing this, and I want it to be in a sustainable fashion. So that's always been our priority. I've always looked at balancing how can we keep putting out enough content that justifies our existence, but in a way that is endlessly sustainable. That it's not going to burn us out, and that we're going to be able to get out regular. I don't think I've maybe missed like 1 or 2 roundups in like 5 years because I put it in a format that I think is something that we can keep going forever as long as we want to do it. And
now we have a podcast.
But even with the podcast, we're doing it every 2 weeks because I don't think every week would be sustainable.
Nope.
That would be too much, time and energy that I don't have. But every 2 weeks works out pretty well for us so far. So there's my other second piece of advice out there to throw out for anybody out there anime blogging is look at what's sustainable. I guess, setting what your measure of success is going to be. Like I said, if you do want to go out and try to get the views, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. But it's a different model to follow, I guess. But yeah.
Yep. Let's pretend we knew what we were doing ever.
Well, we are still here, so we must have done something fairly correct. And I think we're
sure.
We don't put out as many posts as we used to, but I think the content that we make is like some of the best stuff. We've honed our skills over the years.
Let's go with that.
Into this anime reviewing machine that we are. So anyway,
Yep.
I think that's just about going to do it. Do you guys have any other parting thoughts you want to share before we wrap up here?
Are we going to do this, G?
Yes.
Are we announcing our new feature?
We've committed to it. All right.
That's true.
So,
I already have the posts lined up.
So speaking of the future of the blog,
oh yes,
GLORIO blog is making an unprecedented expansion
Sure.
to the Sea of Stars with our second podcast.
Hey,
coming soon to a podcast feed near you is Legend of the GLORIO Heroes, where Iro and I will begin our journey amongst the Sea of Stars and watch the original Legend of the Galactic Heroes OVA series.
110 episodes.
All 110 episodes.
One hopes.
I could not be any less excited if I tried.
The podcast feature that everybody's been waiting for. The hot, relevant coverage.
30 years in the making.
Most relevant anime in 2018.
That actually might be true.
as you guys might hear in our podcast coming up soon, we might actually have words to say about Legend of the Galactic Heroes and how relevant it still is in 2018. But
giving away the title there.
We've been talking about it for weeks, even on this very podcast, and we're finally getting that started. So.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, it's just after watching the new anime remake,
Yumeiro Patiserie.
Yes, which we thoroughly enjoyed. And realizing that we would not have any more of that show to watch until 2019. We decided, I suppose, now was a better time than any to just get started on the original.
So we're aiming for having it in the off weeks between the main podcasts.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes, it's probably going to be a little bit shorter than the main GLORIO chat podcasts, and we're still deciding how many episodes we want to cover each week. But basically, the podcast will just be, Iro and I, and anybody who might be listening out there, just watching a few episodes every week, and just kind of recapping it and sharing our thoughts
Yeah.
on the developments throughout the anime.
I have a feeling that might actually be more entertaining than watching the show itself.
Oh, the show is purged.
Harsh.
Why? In the very first episode we watched, there are no less than 3 shots of Yang Wen Li sadly staring out the window, contemplating the fate of mankind.
I just
men in suits.
I just hope you're watching it with yellow subs. That's all I can say. But,
yeah, there are yellow subs. It's
Yeah,
true.
those subs are pretty yellow.
Nice. So, all right. Well, we'll be looking forward to that. And other than that, I think that's going to do it. I kind of wish I could have had everybody on this podcast since everybody is involved, but that
it definitely would have been nice to
out.
get everybody's own perspective on.
Yeah, so maybe next year we'll rotate around and get everybody else's thoughts or something. Who knows? I don't know. But thank you guys for all your hard work over the years, your many years of service.
Thank you, Jill.
Thanks to the rest.
So when's paycheck coming?
What's that?
So when do I qualify for veterans discount?
I was supposed to be paying you guys. Yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you to the rest of the crew, Zig, Marlon, Chris and Collins, Artemis. You guys are all out there working hard, your many years of service. So thank you. And we'll see how much longer we keep this ship rolling. So, all right, that'll do it. Let's just wrap up with our usual housekeeping then. Read everything we write at theglorioblog.com.
Maybe read some more old stuff that we just talked about.
Some more old stuff. I'll link that all up in the notes. You can follow us on Twitter at theglorioblog. You can like, comment, subscribe.
Tell your enemy.
like, comment, subscribe to the podcast, including the upcoming. Did you guys have the official title yet, or are we still working on that? It's going to be Legend of the GLORIO Heroes. Okay, so including that, it'll be on the same feed. But like, comment, subscribe to wherever podcasts are sold, iTunes, wherever. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, and that'll do it. See you guys next time.
Bye.